Hello everyone, I am Dr. Sarada M, gynecologist and obstetrician at Yashoda Hospitals, Somajiguda. Today we will be talking about postmenopausal osteoporosis. So you all must have heard about this osteoporosis. What is it? So osteoporosis is a systemic disease of the bones. So we have an idea, we have a picture of bones in our mind that they are a rod-like structures. But actually it's a big myth. They are not rods. We don't carry rods in our body. Bones are a very fragile organs, and there is a net-like structure in the bones on which calcium and phosphorus crystals are deposited, and they give strength to our body. So this bone continuously remodels. So there's continuous amount of deposition and continuous amount of removing the dirt from the bone. So remodeling happens in the bone. They are never a rod-like structure. So osteoporosis is when the mineral content in the bone, that means the basic strength of the bone is lost, we call it osteoporosis. By postmenopausal osteoporosis, many women go into menopause at their natural age of 50. So before menopause, there is a hormone called as estrogen. This estrogen promotes bone growth. So it gives the stability to the bones, it promotes bone growth. Whereas after menopause, when the estrogen hormone is lost, the bones become very weak. The mineral content of the bone is lost when we call that osteoporosis sets in. So this usually comes 10 to 15 years after the menopause. So immediately after menopause, there is a very fast decline in the bone strength, about 1 to 2% per year. And then after 10 years, the osteoporosis symptoms are seen. So how common is osteoporosis? It is very common as 1 in 8. So we hear many in our many family members that they had a fractures. So first sign of osteoporosis is fracture. So fracture is not after a big trauma, road accident, there is a fracture. A small low intensity fall and there is a fracture. That means a bone should withhold that fall, but there is a fracture. That means they had fallen down from a small height, or just slid down and there was a fracture, or you just slipped your feet and there was a fracture. All these are osteoporotic fractures because of weak bones. So when there is a fracture, then definitely there is osteoporosis. You don't have to do many more tests to diagnose osteoporosis. And the pains, the bone pains will be there, pain in the back, pain in the legs. So all these are symptoms of osteoporosis. And especially after 60 years, when a woman has gone into menopause at 50, or very early, if some women do enter menopause very early, then they get the symptoms of osteoporosis also very early. So we all know that hip fractures, all these happen when the woman goes into osteoporosis. And they are so bad that after hip fracture, the lifespan is reduced. So 1 in 4 will die within 1 year of hip fracture. It is so bad. So we have to take care of the bones and prevent these fractures. So today let's see how do you diagnose osteoporosis. So we do lot of tests. There is something called as DEXA scan, where you can get the density in the bone. So we get to know how weak your bone is. So it gives us a T-score. If the T-score is less than 2.5, that means your bone is very weak. But if it is more, then you need to protect that bone density. So how do you protect the bone density? There are a lot of lifestyle changes. So first, let us see who can get this osteoporosis. So all women who are gone into menopause can get osteoporosis, and also men can also get osteoporosis as they age. So once they are into their 70 years, the gradual decline in bone density happens, and even they can have osteoporotic fractures. So women, especially after menopause, postmenopausal osteoporosis will happen. Some do have a genetic history. The fractures are there in the family. The elders had it, so their bones are genetically weak. Lot of smoking, lot of alcohol does affect the bone density. And some people have to take some medicines like steroids, immunosuppressants for some other diseases like rheumatoid arthritis or SLE. When the people are on continuous steroids, then they are more at risk of osteoporosis. And those who have a very sedentary lifestyle, you are not moving about, you are just a very sedentary lifestyle, no exercise at all, they are more at a risk of osteoporosis. Very thin women or thin men, very fragile women, very low BMI or high BMI, even they are at a risk of osteoporosis. Sudden changes in weight, so you suddenly crash dieting, losing your weight suddenly, your bones become very weak, you are at a very high risk of osteoporosis. So even though you will lose weight, at the same time the bones also have become weak. So take care of these things. When you are on a diet management plan it slowly, don't do a crash diet. How do we prevent osteoporosis? As we have already discussed, bone continuous remodeling happens. So there is something which builds the bone, at the same time the dead bone is removed. So there is osteoblastic, that means the growth of the bone, and osteoclastic, removal of the bone. So we have to balance these two things for a healthy bone. How do we do that? One is an important diet. So we have to take very good daily allowance of calcium, phosphorus and protein and vitamin D in our diet. So recommended dose of calcium is 800 to 1000 milligrams in the postmenopausal women. Vitamin D, you have to take 1000 to 1500 international units of vitamin D. Similarly phosphorus, similarly protein. So how do you take these? So do you have to take a supplement every day? So we take calcium supplements with phosphorus every day, then the excess calcium can cause problems. So problems like atherosclerosis, that means the vessels in the heart, they become blocked, and calcium deposits to form in the heart vessels. So cardiologists don't allow us to take more calcium supplements. Similarly, kidney stones, renal stones can form. So there are some side effects with these hypercalcemia. So we should not going into that hyper states. Similarly, we should not be in a low calcium levels. Better way is balanced both. So you take a dietary supplements of calcium. So what are the good sources of calcium? Definitely all the dairy products. So how do you know how much dairy you should be taking? There are at least a katori of curd or a glass of milk. It gives us roughly 300 to 400 milligrams of calcium per day. So you're done with one katori, 300 milligrams of calcium you have taken that day. The rest 800 milligrams you balance in another forms, maybe a glass of milk or non-vegetarian diet or a slice of cheese. So, but if you are not allowed to take dairy products because of your own personal reasons or your medical reasons, then maybe you should be taking calcium supplements based on your requirements. If you are not able to balance the diet, you should be taking the calcium supplements. Similarly, vitamin D. So how much vitamin D you should be taking? We need at least 1000 to 1500 international units per day. So how do we get the vitamin D? Definitely vitamin D is a sunshine vitamin. So we should be getting exposed to the sun at least for a half an hour from morning 10 o'clock till afternoon 2:30. So many times we see that people go for an early morning walk getting a vitamin D. The vitamin D is not a early morning sunshine vitamin. We have to get exposed in the afternoon hours when the correct wavelength of UV rays which stimulate vitamin D in our skin is available. And there should be no sunscreen use, and at least 30% of the body, that means the face, upper arms and forearms should be exposed to the sunlight, that daily requirement of vitamin D. If you are not getting that much, you are not able to go to sunshine for that time, it's better to take a supplement of vitamin D. Maybe a weekly dose or everyday dose or an injection of vitamin D can be taken to supplement the vitamin D. Similarly, you have to maintain adequate amount of protein, and we should also be doing exercise. Any exercise, similar a walk for half an hour is more than enough. Otherwise, good resistance training definitely helps. And prevention of falls. So we have to take care that we don't fall unnecessarily. That is the most important thing in preventing osteoporosis. So, and definitely there are medicines. If you are diagnosed with osteoporosis and there is a risk of fractures, we should be giving medicines. But before the medicines, all these changes, the lifestyle changes, definitely helps us to protect our bones and prevent osteoporosis.